Robots are going to take over the world. No, not really. At least not in the way that you might think. While we may never have the cinematic robot uprising Hollywood promises us, AI is getting more advanced every day. But what does this mean? Particularly for the art industry. Today, we will be exploring DALL-E 2. DALL-E 2 is a text-to-image generator that is able to create images in just a few short seconds with a prompt. It was initially released in the early 2021 and has since been released to the public on September 28, 2022. A waitlist no longer required. As an artist myself, I am both interested and slightly worried as to what DALL-E 2 can produce. In this speech, we will go into detail about the AI-powered text-to-image generator, DALL-E 2, and its potential benefits and downsides for creators and artists alike. We will review its functions, legal ramifications, and implications for the art industry. But let's start with exactly how to use DALL-E 2. Once an account is made, all you need to do is input a prompt and DALL-E 2 will give you images matching that prompt. According to an article published May 1st, 2022 by Less Wrong entitled What DALL-E 2 Can and Cannot Do, DALL-E 2 excels at clothing, cute animals, and close-up images of food. To take the food, for example, this is an image that I generated. As you can see, it generated it flawlessly. But unfortunately, DALL-E 2 cannot create everything flawlessly, namely humans. Here's an example of humans that it tried to create. The faces are all wrong, the anatomy is all over the place, and this would not be able to pass as a real-life image. However, DALL-E 2 can do more than just create real-life images. What it's best known for is creating art. Another image that I gave it, another prompt I should say, was Lonely Great Dane in the Rain, Steampunk. I have been messing around with DALL-E for about 3 or so weeks now, and I have found that DALL-E really finds its stride when you give it a simple prompt and an art style. It's able to take the prompt, do what it wants with it, and because it's so good at transferring art styles, it can give you exactly what you want, and it's able to be creative too. So long as you don't get too complicated with the instructions, it can give you pretty decent results. However, what do you do with those results? I generated this, don't I? Do I own it? Well, not exactly. You see, art has always been created by humans up until recently, and if you created it, it automatically belonged to you. But a robot made this. To clear it up, an article titled Who Owns DALL-E 2 Images by Stephen Ellison Esquire, published August 29, 2022, explains how the creators of DALL-E 2, actually own the images that you create. So what, do I not be able to do anything with this? I can, actually. To quote the aforementioned article, quote, OpenAI graciously grants you the right to sell your images, unquote. So yes, I could do what I wanted with this, but also somebody could just screenshot this, so why would anyone buy this? But regardless of what you can sell and buy and do whatnot on DALL-E 2, it's limited in all those things. It cannot create endlessly. The reason for that is because of its image database. DALL-E 2 pulls from a bunch of images from a gigantic database that you can't even begin to count. However, there are 3 types of images that it lacks: sexually explicit images, gore, and human faces. The reason for this is in the manuscript that DALL-E 2 released June 2022, titled DALL-E 2 Pre-Training Mitigations. Quote, without this mitigation, the model would learn to produce graphic and explicit images when prompted for them, and might even return such images unintentionally in response to seemingly innocuous prompts. DALL-E 2 has been able to create a safe space for everyone, space that nobody really needs to be worried about creating in. However, this also means that it might be slightly boring to some artists who have a dark side. However, regardless of what you can and cannot create in DALL-E 2, it requires no skill to use. Even if you've never touched pen or paper, you could input a prompt into a search bar and get 4 beautiful images. But even people who have no interest in artistic could use DALL-E 2. For example, DALL-E 2 could be used in lieu of stock photos. Instead of paying somebody else for licensed photos, DALL-E 2 could produce them for free. Unfortunately, DALL-E 2 does have some downsides as well. DALL-E 2 creates art, so this means that it could potentially steal jobs from other artists. Maybe it could open up more opportunities for editors, but it definitely has the probability of stealing jobs from those who have worked their entire lives for them. In the end, DALL-E 2 is going to change how the world works, for better or for worse. It can create things at a speed that humans can't even begin to comprehend. Some of them could end up in museums, while some of them could end up in a trash can. It can never make anything unsavory, but that also means that its selection is slightly limited in what you can do. It may take away jobs from specific artists, but who knows? Maybe it'll bring us more jobs for editors. In the end, DALL-E 2 isn't going to give us that robot uprising. However, it will change things. It'll change the world, for better or for worse. Now, it just depends if you think that world is better or worse than the robot uprising. That question is for each of you to figure out on your own.